By now, you know the truth, that some kids' shows weren't made to comfort us. They were made to confuse us, to disturb us, maybe even to trap us. Welcome back. We've already peeled back 2 layers of childhood television, and what we found was nothing short of nightmarish. But we're not done, because some shows were so strange, so unsettling, that they slipped through undetected until now. In this volume, we're diving into the shows that felt haunted from the start, programs that blurred the line between reality and delusion, puppets that stared too long, cartoons that looped like rituals, and episodes that felt like broadcasts from another world. These weren't just forgotten, they were buried. So if you remember a show that no one else does, if something from your childhood still makes your skin crawl, you're in the right place. This is Disturbing Kids Shows That Actually Aired, Volume 3, and it's about to get worse. Thunderbirds was heroic. Stingray was stylish. But this? This one was pure chaos. This is Terrahawks, a British sci-fi puppet series created by Jerry Anderson, the same man behind Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet. But unlike his earlier shows, Terrahawks wasn't inspiring. It was insane. It aired from 1983 to 1986, and while it was meant for kids, it felt like it came from a malfunctioning dream. A campy dystopia stuffed with weird voices, uncomfortable puppets, and a villain that still gives people nightmares. Set in the year 2020, yes, really, Earth is under attack by a bizarre alien witch named Zelda, who lives on Mars and wants to wipe out humanity. To stop her, Earth creates a defense force called the Terrahawks, made up of human commanders and a group of spherical robot soldiers with names like Zeroid 101 and Dix Huit. So far, so weird. But it's the execution that makes it deeply unsettling. Unlike Thunderbirds, which used detailed marionettes with realistic features, Terrahawks used a method called super macromation, a style of puppet animation that made everyone look like plastic caricatures frozen mid-stroke. The human characters have dead glass eyes, stiff faces, and horrifying grins that never move. Their mouths barely open. They look like wax figures possessed by AI. And the way they move? Jerky, floaty, glitchy. It's like watching puppets try to pass a Turing test and fail. The villain of the series is an alien witch named Zelda, and she is genuinely terrifying. She speaks in a distorted croak, wears rotting robes, and has a face that looks like a melted doll head. She's constantly flanked by her hideous clone son, Youngstar, and her even creepier cyborg companion, Psystar. But what made Zelda so disturbing wasn't just her appearance, it was the fact that she was smart, sadistic, and completely unhinged. She laughed at death. She experimented on her enemies. And unlike most Saturday morning villains, she actually won sometimes. The show's audio design was pure chaos. Shrill laughter, glitched out synth effects, voices pitched in and out like a broken radio. Some of the Zeroid robots spoke with dizzying accents and rapid-fire puns, while others just screamed. There were entire scenes where characters would argue in high-pitched static over visuals that made no sense. Watching it felt like being trapped in a late-night fever dream. Terrahawks tried to be campy and humorous, and, to an extent, it succeeded. But that humor only made the horror more surreal. Imagine a scene where Zelda turns someone to stone, and it's followed by a robot doing stand-up comedy. It's tonal whiplash, but it's unforgettable. Terrahawks was supposed to be a space adventure, but to many kids it felt like watching a puppet apocalypse unfold in real time. A psychedelic war between humans and monsters, full of nightmare puppets and Martian witches. And if you caught it late at night, it felt like you had tuned into the wrong dimension.
What have I done?
They have opened fire.
Yes, Elder. This has got to be the end.
Some shows teach kids about life. This one taught them about death. In 1993, a British children's cartoon aired that traumatized an entire generation. It was called The Animals of Farthing Wood. And if you've seen it, you probably still remember how it made you feel. Because unlike most cartoons, this one didn't hold back. The story follows a group of animals who are forced to flee their home, the Farthing Wood Forest, after humans destroy it to build roads and houses. Led by a brave fox and a wise old badger, they begin a long journey to a nature reserve. Sounds sweet, right? Wrong. Because this journey is brutal, and not everyone makes it. From the very first episodes, the series makes it clear no one is safe. Animals are run over by cars, killed by humans, burned alive, starved, hunted, and drowned. There's even an episode where a mother hedgehog dies trying to save her mate because she stops in the middle of the road and curls into a ball. And then a car hits her. They show the whole thing. And the reactions of the other animals? They grieve. They cry. They break down. This wasn't cartoon violence. This was grief animated for kids. The animation is soft, naturalistic, and painterly, which only makes the violence feel more real. There's no cartoon exaggeration, just the cold, realistic world of predators, prey, and man-made extinction. Even the music leans into the tragedy. Slow, orchestral, and somber. The tone of the entire series is more like a war documentary than a Saturday morning cartoon. So why was it made like this? The show was based on a book series that was already known for its raw honesty about nature and survival. The creators believed kids could handle tough truths, that death and loss were part of life, and stories should reflect that. But many viewers weren't prepared, because this wasn't Bambi or The Lion King where one character dies and the story moves on. In The Animals of Farthing Wood, they just keep dying. Even decades later, people still talk about it. Not because it was a masterpiece, which it kind of was, but because it burned itself into their memories. A show about survival. That showed you exactly what survival costs. The Animals of Farthing Wood was a bold, tragic, and unflinching piece of storytelling. But if you watched it as a kid, you probably remember one thing above all else: the pain. Some shows were strange. This one felt cursed. In 1977, British television aired a children's series that felt more like folk horror than family programming. It was called Children of the Stones. And for the kids who watched it, it was a show they never forgot. Because how do you forget something that feels like a warning from another world? The story takes place in a remote, fictional village called Millbury, built inside a real-life ancient stone circle. A scientist and his son move into town and immediately sense that something isn't right. Everyone in Millbury is too nice, too calm. They greet each other with a chilling chant, "Happy day." And if that wasn't enough of a red flag, the people in the town are stuck. They can't leave. They don't want to, because Millbury isn't just a village, it's a trap. As the episodes unfold, the boy begins to realize that the villagers are part of a cosmic ritual, and that the stones around them aren't just old monuments, they're alive, and they're watching. The show's tone is unrelentingly eerie. Its music, filled with a tonal, ghostly chanting, sounds like a choir of the damned. The pacing is slow and dreamlike, but always heavy with dread. There are no jokes, no warmth, just stone, silence, and the slow unraveling of reality. The series was only 7 episodes long, but it didn't need more. By the end, it becomes clear that Millbury exists outside of time, a kind of loop, a prison, maybe even a cult built around ancient science. And the twist? When the heroes escape, the next family moves in. and the loop begins again. Even adults who rewatch it today agree. This wasn't just creepy for a kid's show. It was legitimately disturbing, exploring mind control, pagan sacrifice, and quantum theory, all before bedtime. It wasn't a children's show. It was a warning dressed as one. Children of the Stones aired only once in 1977 and became an instant piece of British TV legend. Some call it the Twin Peaks of children's television. Others say it's like Wicker Man meets Doctor Who. But to the kids who watched it, it was something worse, a show that made you question what was real and what was already controlling you. Some kids' shows were weird, but this one felt like a fever dream trapped inside a funhouse. This is The Banana Splits, a psychedelic variety show from the late 1960s that was supposed to be fun. It was created by the same people behind Hanna-Barbera cartoons and designed to be a mix of live-action costumes, music videos, and animated shorts. But to many kids, it was something else entirely. Creepy, loud, and slightly wrong. The main characters were 4 costumed animals who lived in an amusement park. Fleagle, a beagle bingo, a gorilla drooper, a lion snorky, an elephant, who eventually stopped speaking and just honked. They played instruments, told jokes, and introduced animated segments. So far, so harmless. But the costumes? They looked like hallucinatory Chuck E. Cheese rejects. Dead, blinking eyes, unmoving mouths, and that strange effect of being slightly too tall and too human. Their movements were slow and awkward, their voices often distorted or squeaky, and the humor, loud, nonsensical, and chaotic. The Banana Splits didn't follow a typical narrative. It was a mishmash of segments, jumping from slapstick skits to cartoon violence to psychedelic music videos. The editing was manic. Quick cuts, loud honks, strange music, characters breaking the fourth wall. Even when they were trying to be funny, it felt off, almost like a broadcast from another reality, especially if you were watching sick at home, half awake, or late at night on syndication reruns. That theme is burned into the memory of anyone who grew up with it. It's cheerful, innocent, infectious, and that's exactly what makes it so sinister in hindsight. Because if you ever found the show even a little creepy, that song just made it worse. Like a twisted lullaby you can't escape. In 2019, The Banana Splits was rebooted. As a full-on slasher movie, in it, the characters go haywire, trap families in a TV studio, and start killing the audience one by one. It shocked casual viewers. But for kids who remembered the original, it made perfect sense. Because deep down, they always knew something about those costumed creatures felt wrong. But sometimes it's the things that try hardest to be fun that end up being the creepiest of all. These weren't just shows. They were warnings, nightmares, echoes from some twisted corner of children's television. And the scariest part? They all actually aired. If you watched any of these growing up, you're not alone. Let me know in the comments which one disturbed you the most, or maybe which one you thought you imagined, but turns out was real all along. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to never miss an upload. Let me know if I missed any in the comments. And until next time.